Thoth, he's, according to himself, he calls himself an Atlantean king. Now, the priests that were left behind after he left, they call him an Atlantean priest king. The ancient Egyptians, called him a king or a god. He ruled over them for 16,000 years. We're talking about a very, very long time ago. We're talking about 54,000 BC. This is ancient, pre-dynastic era, obviously. This gentleman claims to have built the Great Pyramid. But what's interesting is his emerald tablets, which are a text that he authored himself. He didn't have a scribe that authored these texts. He wrote these tablets himself and left them behind for this generation that we are in right now to understand, break down, analyze, and actually learn from. What was interesting in these tablets is he talks about this flood in the opening verses, this great flood that has swept across the land. Again, more evidence of a great flood. He talks about the fact that the temples were coming up out of the mud, and that his mission now was to go and raise mankind back up to a high level of civilization. In other words, we had already been in a high level prior to this flood, potentially some type of a golden age, high level, high-tech civilization existed before this flood destroyed the planet. And now him and his crew, he took a crew with him, he got into the great ship of the master, according to his writings. And this wasn't a ship that sailed out on the ocean, because he said, upward we rose into the sky, to the sun, until beneath us, the planet, it basically disappeared, the earth disappeared. But we're talking about a ship that flies up and out, not that sails across water. Until the time appointed, he said, he looks down, beneath the ship lay the land of the children of Chem, and he sees an ancient temple coming up out of the mud, and then they descend down to the ground, and then the people by this time had become barbarians. And so they had lost their technology, had lost, a lot of their language and everything else because of this global disaster that happened. Probably a couple generations have gone by or whatever, I'm assuming. But they come to attack him when he opens the door to his ship and come out, him and his crew. And he raises his staff and he sends out a ray of vibration, which stops them still as fragments of stone of a mountain. So he has a stun gun that can freeze you in place, just like we have the active denial system in the military that sends a beam at a crowd of rioters and can freeze them in their tracks, make them feel like they're vomiting, make them feel like they're on fire, put words in their head, put them in pain, make them run away. Same technology he has. And then he releases them and he begins to talk about peace with them. And he says, I'm a son of Atlantis, and I'm here to raise you back up to a high level of civilization. So this guy's interesting, because after he created this new civilization here in the land of Kemet, before it was known as Egypt, he then told his crew to go around the planet and duplicate what they had done there. So he's the master architect. His crew went around the world and re-kickstarted civilization in different regions of this planet, most likely along that 33rd degree parallel. It's just, to me, evidence that after a flood, we had some assistance in getting back on our feet.